Should trail cameras be legal? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. The camera bans that are sweeping across the country from state to state, some arguments that I've been hearing about why they should be banned, as well as my thoughts on the big picture on why we shouldn't ban these cameras.
Warning, this video might make you a better deer hunter. Whether it does or not depends on if you put the information to use. At the end of the day, that is my goal, to help you become a better deer hunter. Let's get into it.
Well, that's exactly what we want him to do.
I just blew that shot. Hey guys, welcome back to Whitetail Affinity. Hope you guys are doing well. Today's video I wanted to talk about the recent trail camera ban that happened in Iowa. They added themselves to the list of growing states that are banning trail cameras as well as regular cameras, SD cameras in the woods for hunting purposes. And I just want to get a conversation going. This is the hot topic right now in the whitetail world. So I wanted to join in on the conversation as well as get you guys' thoughts and feedback about this as well. What happened was last week Iowa decided that, from what I've heard and what I've read and everything, they modified an existing law that banned cell cams on all public land left unattended and banned on private and public while actively hunting and pursuing deer or animals. So they're like I said, they joined a growing list of states that have done this, and I've got a list here. Arizona banned for hunting purposes, Delaware banned on public land, Kansas banned on public and walk-in properties, Kentucky is considering a ban on public, Montana has banned cell cams during hunting season, Nevada has banned them for hunting purposes, New Hampshire has banned cell cams during season, and Utah has banned on all public and cell cams during season, and that's on private, and now Iowa. So like I said, Iowa's no cameras at all on public while left unattended, and cell cameras banned on public and private while actively hunting. So guys, I wanted to make this video because I feel very passionately about this. I'm going to preface this whole video, the rest of the video, by saying that I use cell cameras. I've used trail cameras for probably close to 20 years now, and I'm completely against the bans. So whether you disagree with that and want to leave right now, or if you'd like to hang out, I'd like you to hang out, and maybe I can give you a different perspective. But I just wanted to put that out there right off the bat. But I've been reading a lot of comments and seeing a lot of things on different videos and trying to figure out what actually was put out by Iowa, because I really couldn't find anything on their websites or any bulletins or anything like that. But I've been seeing all kinds of comments on videos and all kinds of comments on Facebook and all these sites and stuff. Guys cheering these bans on and all for it. And I wanted to talk to you guys and tell you my thoughts on it and why I think that it's a bad idea. Some of the arguments that I've heard, first of all, privacy. For some reason, I've seen a lot of guys saying that and these are an invasion of privacy on public land, and I guess I can't see the reasoning behind that. I guess it goes back to intent. My wife watches a lot of Law and Order, so I watch all these criminal cases and all this stuff, and intent has to always be there for a certain thing to happen or not happen. So cell cameras, when a guy goes out on public land or private, whichever, and puts a camera out there, his intent is to take pictures of game animals. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that nobody just walks into the woods and says, oh, I bet you a person's going to walk by here and I can get a picture of them, so they stick it on this tree. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So the intent on the hunter's side is to take pictures of game animals, and I haven't ever heard of a different situation. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense. And that's another thing throughout this whole video, I want you guys to just use common sense. Like I'm not a criminal. not in law enforcement. I'm not a wildlife biologist. I just look at things and try to use the common sense with it. So I'm asking you guys to do that as well. So back to the intent. So on the hunter's side, like I said, he's going to put that on the tree to take pictures of game animals. His intent is not to take pictures of people. If he wanted to do that, he could put this on a signpost by a sidewalk or somewhere where there's a lot of people and humans walking around, and so he can get pictures of them, I guess. But as far as the other side of it, where a fellow hunter or a hiker or something like that is walking through the woods and they have a picture taken of them, that might not be their intent to have their picture taken. But especially if you're on public land, it kind of negates either argument, because if you're on public land, that's everyone's land. If you're on private land and you don't have permission to be there, you pretty much negated your rights as far as privacy because you're trespassing. So we'll just talk about public land for now. If you get your picture taken on public land by a trail camera, you're out there for probably the same reasons. If you're in an area where these are generally, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm going to say probably over 90% of the time, this thing is out in an area where people generally aren't. You're not going to put this on a walking trail. You're not going to put this overlooking a scenic overlook or something like that. Like, it's going to be out in the woods, way away from people. So if you're out there and you get your picture taken by a trail camera, it's on public land, for one, so it's not your property. And you should fully expect that you may have your picture taken by a trail camera. If you're out there, if your intent is to, say, go to the bathroom, and that's another thing. I don't understand the reasoning behind what these people are talking about with privacy. What invasion of privacy is it? What are you doing that you don't want to be caught on camera or whatever? Are you going to the bathroom? Okay, well, if you're in the woods and there's a camera that you didn't see, which is another thing that you should be paying attention for while you're out there in the woods. But if you didn't see it and you're going to the bathroom, we've all seen some funny pictures of guys out there going to the bathroom, got caught on a trail camera, whatever. I've seen them. I know it's out there. But again, that is a very tiny fraction of a percent of the amount of the pictures that are taken of people on trail cameras. So if that's your argument that, well, I could be going to the bathroom out there and it could take a picture of me, well, again, this isn't a public restroom. Public restrooms have doors for privacy because that is the intent, is to go in there and go to the bathroom. When you're out in the woods, if you don't see the camera and you get caught on it doing your business, I don't believe that that's an invasion of privacy, because this guy that put this out there, that was not his intent to take a picture of you going to the bathroom. Now, if there's any other reason why you wouldn't want to be caught out in the woods or have privacy out in the woods, an invasion of privacy, what are you doing that's wrong that you don't want to be caught on camera? So I guess all that to say, it just doesn't make any sense. And the privacy argument for me is just complete BS, to be honest. It just, I think it's a reason to just oppose the cameras without saying that you oppose the cameras for whatever reason. I don't know, something weird. But anyway, the next argument that I've seen a lot of is woodsmanship. And I've seen a lot of guys say, well, now people actually have to go out and scout or go out and hunt the deer or go out and use their woodsmanship skills. And I've seen all these comments about woodsmanship. And to an extent, I do agree. Obviously, you have to have woodsmanship to even kill a deer. But this camera, I'm going to tell you right now, I've had one deer that I've ever got a picture of and then went out and killed that animal the same night, the same day. You got to have the woodsmanship to even put this in a good spot to know that deer's there. Whatever, a picture of a deer that you get, you got to have this in the right spot to know that deer's there, or to know that there's deer in that area. You got to have the woodsmanship to even place this thing right. So But back to what I was saying about as far as killing the deer and finding the deer to actually have a shot and whatnot. I've only ever killed a deer one time that I got a picture of that day. So most of the time, I get pictures while I'm at work. I get pictures when I'm doing something else, not able to be in the woods. And this right here does not negate woodsmanship at all. It does not make it easier to kill an animal. It does not make it, it's not, in my opinion, it is not an unfair advantage to put one of these out in the woods, get a picture, and then be able to hunt that deer. I'm going to hunt anyway. All this thing is doing is telling me that there's a deer there that I either want to shoot or let go, whatever it is. But this right here does not have any effect on killing an animal, because I used 2 of these last year in 2 different areas, and I hunted those areas several times, and I never once saw the deer that I actually got pictures of on this camera. I saw different deer, and I also saw deer that weren't even, I was sitting 20 yards from this camera, and 8 different deer passed by, 7 or 8 that day passed by. I didn't even get a picture of it, of any of those deer with this camera. And I was looking at the camera and I'm thinking, man, they should be in the picture, but they didn't give me any pictures of them. So the point is, these things do not negate woodsmanship, and they do not aid you as far as actually taking the animal, because 9 times out of 10, you're somewhere else, you're going to get there, and that animal's either going to be gone or not around, whatever. You might spook it, whatever. It's just, this thing being out there sending you a picture does not automatically guarantee that you're going to shoot that deer. Like I said, in my lifetime of hunting, which is over 20 years now, in that hunting career, one time I have killed a deer that I got a picture of the same day. So all that to say, guys, that woodsmanship is required no matter what, and these do not compensate for woodsmanship. The only exception for that, if you get a picture on a camera sent to your phone and you can kill that deer, is going to be like an illegal situation where this is in your backyard looking at a bait pile or something like that, and you get a picture and you're, oh, he's there, and then you stick your gun out the back window, shoot the animal, something like that. That is the only time that I believe that you're going to actually use this to kill the deer. Now, you could argue that patterning with these is unfair or whatever, and not using woodsmanship, which I guess you could argue that, but again, the odds are stacked against us already chasing deer, and this just doesn't guarantee that you're going to shoot one just based on not having any woodsmanship skills at all. So those comments and those arguments, again, I think that they're unfounded, and again, just another weird reason or weird way to say that you just don't want them in the woods. And I just think that woodsmanship, like I said, you have to have it to even place these properly. So if you're getting a picture of an animal that you use your woodsmanship to scout out and place this camera there, to me, you're just doing an inventory of what's there. And I don't see what's wrong with that. It's no different than if you go out, pass up every spike and 4-point that you see so that it gets bigger to be able to shoot a bigger deer. It's kind of the same. To me, it's the same thing. You're just saying, okay, that deer's in that spot, I'm going to hunt there. If you saw a 12-point on your buddy's farm and you have permission to hunt it, you're probably going to hunt there versus going out to the public piece where you have no idea what's out there. So again, that's all I'm going to say on woodsmanship. The next comments that I've been seeing, and I've seen a lot of these as well, are the not fair chase, argument, and saying that these are an unfair aid in hunting and taking of an animal. And again, I have to bite my tongue and try to keep my eyes forward, not rolled in the back of my head, because the guys that are saying this, they're the guys that are using ScentLok, and they're using Ozonics, and they're using a compound or a crossbow or a rifle or scopes or any of the myriad of things that we use as hunters to unfairly advantage ourselves to take these deer. So the not fair chase argument, again, BS. And you have to have a base, in my mind, you have to have a baseline. So what is your idea of fair chase? So in my head, I go, okay, fair chase. All things are equal, right? Everything's level playing field. So we have a deer in the wild with all of its instincts and all of its senses, and then we have a human that's trying to kill the deer. So do we reduce ourselves to a predatory level, like we have to be like a coyote or a wolf or a whatever that is trying to kill a deer, a mountain lion? So do we have to just use our body? Like, do we hide in the mud like Rambo, like cover ourselves in mud, fashion a spear, use a rock to make a spear, and then we spear the deer? Because in my mind, deer were put here for us to kill as food to eat. So God gave us the brains to be intelligent beings. Animals are for us to steward, and so that therefore our brains are more intelligent. So we've advanced over years of invention and all that, and now we're at a point where we have trail cameras. So how does that make it wrong to use them if we are the smarter beings and we use tools like guns and compound bows and broadheads to kill an animal? Like I said, you have to have a baseline. So what's your baseline? If you're going to say the fair chase argument, what's your baseline? Is it a longbow with stone broadheads or arrowheads? Is it red flannel? What's the baseline that you can, like, you have to have a baseline to say, okay, it's not fair chase. Well, fair is relative to any situation. It could not be fair that you're using a crossbow during bow season. Would that be considered unfair? I don't think so. I think that any tool that we have that is, aside from a spotlight and a rifle out the window, any tool that we have as hunters that is legal, that you're proficient with, I think that any tool that is available to us that we want to use that's legal and you're good at or good with should be able to be used. And I don't see how this is not fair chase, because like I said before, unless you're using this as a motion detecting device to get an instant camera or picture on your phone to be able to look out the window and shoot the deer, then in that case, obviously that's wrong. That should not happen. And we know it does. But regardless, these being banned in the woods for hunters in the woods actively trying to find an animal to kill is just flat out wrong. And like I said, we can go all day about the tools used and stuff. It doesn't even matter. You just tell me what your baseline is. If you disagree with the fair chase argument, what is your baseline? What do you consider fair? And I want you to just think about that before you get all mad and comment below. Please do that, by the way. Tell me what you're thinking. But before you get all mad and up in your emotions, think about fair chase and what is considered fair chase. Because so many guys, I just see them, yeah, it's good. I'm glad they're getting banned. That's not fair, and this and that. And it's like, what? I just don't see. I don't see where they're getting their fairness from. There has to be some sort of fair moral compass, if you will, that sets your baseline to why something is not fair. Because we could say a lot of things aren't fair. I mean, you all know as crossbows have become more popular, there's a whole group of guys that are completely against them, and just, you're wearing bright pink panties if you shoot a crossbow, which, by the way, on this channel you will never hear that. If you want to use a crossbow, if you do use a crossbow, I'm all for it. But regardless, you have to have that baseline. So think about that before you go spewing off and back up why you're saying it's not fair. Back it up with some sort of logical reasoning or evidence as to why it's not fair. And again, guys, we could go all day with the comments and everything that I've been seeing as far as why everyone's against this or against trail cameras being in the woods and why they're for these bans. But the last one I want to touch on for the purposes of this video is that they're unsightly. Even popular YouTubers and popular hunters and a lot of people have been saying that there's just cameras all over the woods, and I agree, there are, but it has never affected it's never deterred me from hunting an area just because cameras are there. I've seen a lot of cameras on the properties that I hunt, especially the public pieces, and I've never looked at a camera and went, oh man, this area is dead, I can't hunt it, whatever. Because you have to keep in your mind, like, some guys put out 10, 15, 30, however many cameras a year, and they're not even hunting that area a lot of the time. It's just an inventory taker, basically. Like I said before, they're seeing what's there and determining whether they want to even hunt that spot or that area. 2 years ago, we went out scouting, a buddy of mine and we went scouting and found a camera looking right over the little island that we were wanting to hunt. And we went back later on during that season, and he killed a nice 8-point that morning. The video from 2 years ago, the video's on the channel if you want to check it out. But there was a camera directly below us. Once we seen it, we stayed behind it. We didn't bother it. We didn't, try to get our privacy bothered, but we climbed the tree there. 8-point come out that morning. He shot it. The guy actually left a note on his truck, on my buddy's truck, congratulating him on the kill. And because he saw us dragging it out, where we drug it out, we had to drag it out in front of it. So he actually left a note saying, congratulations, here's my number, let me know what buck you shot, blah, blah, blah. That guy didn't get all up in arms. We didn't get all up in arms because, oh my gosh, there was a trail camera there. That guy might have not even came out and hunted that spot. So the unsightly thing, I just look at it like, are tree stands unsightly? Maybe to some people. Tree stands are all over in the woods, and nobody's in an uproar saying that, oh my gosh, there's tree stands everywhere, and they're just taking all the joy and the fun out of my hunts. And it's just part of public land hunting, especially public land. Private land, hopefully you're using your own equipment, your own stuff's there, but public land, it's everybody's, man. Like, it's everybody pays taxes, everybody buys licenses, everybody that hunts has contributed to that land. So who are you to come out and say, well, these cameras are unsightly? It doesn't make sense in my mind. It's no different than a pop-up being out there, a tree stand, tax on the trees, any other legal way or style or whatever of hunting. It is no different. And if you don't like it, like I think there's bigger fish to fry, is when it comes to this, like it's unsightly. Oh, I don't like seeing them out there. Well, that's just too bad, I guess. I don't know how else to say it, but that's the last thing as far as the arguments that I've been hearing. Like I said, there's a million more, and I could sit here all night and we could talk about it. But those are just my opinions on those 4 big ones that I've been seeing. But the next thing I want to talk about is like the big picture for me. All these guys are getting on here and saying all these arguments and all these comments about why they want them banned and all this stuff. And I think that everybody's just missing the entire big picture. And like I said before, I try to use common sense and logic. And for me, the big picture here is just control and overreach by the governments that, let's face it, most of them don't even hunt. These people that are legislating this stuff and pushing this stuff through, or from what I've read, from what I know, like Iowa did, they just changed the rules that were already in place. Didn't even have to draft any legislation or do any of that. I just feel like the government's got their fingers in everything. And if we keep allowing this to happen, it's only going to get worse. I mean, what's next? So they ban these, okay? They get their feelers in, dig their fingers in with this. What's next? Are they going to ban lighted sights on bows? Are they going to ban flashlights? You can't use a flashlight in the woods to get to your stand because it's unsightly or because it's an electronic device that's aiding you in deer hunting, taking of an animal. I mean, there's a ton of things that could happen once they get the traction of one little thing. Anybody remember COVID? Like, we've seen this before, but they get that first little thing down and it's gonna snowball from there. I mean, you guys can, Randy's a big conspiracy theorist, blah, 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 whatever. It's gonna snowball from there, mark my words. And I don't agree with it. So that's kind of the big picture thing. I know for Michigan, here in Michigan, they're still legal as far as I know. But the big thing here has been the baiting ban. And I wanted to touch on this in this video because it's just kind of related. But you know, quite a few years ago, baiting was legal. Everybody baited. Well, a lot of people baited. And then it wasn't legal for a year or two, something like that. And then it went back to being legal. And then a couple years ago, now it's illegal again. So the bait ban, though, is the reason why they banned it was because of CWD. And well, at least that's what they claimed. And like I said before, use logic, common sense, okay? Banning this is not going to change. What's it going to change? The guys are getting pictures of deer, the deer unfairly being taken? I don't think so. I don't see how it can. Just like the bait ban. Ban the bait, so it's going to stop the spread of CWD. Okay, well, why aren't scrapes banned? They haven't banned apple trees. They haven't banned cornfields, food plots, anywhere where deer congregate and get together, share each other's snot and spit and saliva and all that stuff, bodily secretions, whatever. All that stuff, common sense tells me, like, if a deer is going to eat at a bait pile and contract CWD from another deer, that deer could also eat at an apple tree and contract that CWD from the same deer or a different deer, whatever. But again, you can't tell me that a half-chewed apple from a deer under a tree cannot transmit something just like a bait pile could. They're all congregating at it every single day till those apples are gone, till the corn's out of the fields, till the clover's out of the plot, till the scrapes are all dried up and it's winter. Deer are hitting the same areas, and it's the same thing as this. The bait ban is just like this. And I don't oppose bait, I'm for being able to bait. I don't bait myself. I used to, but I don't anymore. Even though it's banned, a lot of people still do it. But regardless, I still think that you should be able to bait. If you want to ban it on public, fine. You want to go more fair chase, fine, ban it on public. But this, like Iowa just did with these on private land, how can you tell a tax-paying person that owns their property, that works and everything else, that bought that land and pays for it, how can you tell them that they can't put a pile of corn out or put a trail camera on their trees? It's the big picture, guys. It's the control and the overreach. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think it's a good idea, bottom line. And again, back to tools being used. Again, this is no different than a crossbow. It's no different than a 7 mag. It's no different than a scope. It is no different than a tree stand. It is no different than your camouflage. What else can I think of? It's no different than any tool that you use to effectively take an animal. And like I said, if you're going to argue that these are wrong, you should probably be using, at the very least, depending on your baseline of what fair is, you should be using a longbow, cover yourself in mud like Rambo, or fashion yourself a spear, and be hunting that way. And I don't see how you could argue otherwise, because, you know, it's no different. A flash, like I said, a flashlight going to your tree. Self-filmers. I love to self-film. A lot of people self-film. Are they going to ban self-filming because it's an electronic device, even though it's not used in the taking of an animal, in the aid of it? It's still an electronic device. So where do we draw the line? Where's the, you know, it's just, it's like COVID. It's like all these, like the bait ban. I just don't understand it. And another big thing that I really think that these are good for is getting new people involved and getting kids involved or staying involved. I go through my trail camera pictures and my kids are like magnets to me. They want to see what is out there. They like looking at the pictures. They like seeing the big bucks and all this stuff, and spikes normally, but it gets them into it, and it breeds that curiosity. And it, you know, if we don't keep that going as well, all these things that are being stripped away is decreasing opportunities for kids and people that are trying to get into hunting or want to. And I think that we should use everything that we can to get more people involved. And because if we keep going on the trend and the track that we're going, then our population as hunters is just going to keep shrinking. And you guys might not think it's a big deal, but we're outnumbered already. I mean, we know that they want to take our guns. We know that. We know that there's these organizations like PETA. There's all kinds of anti-hunters, all that stuff that outnumber us. I don't know what the numbers are, but probably at least tenfold, I would say. But we have to keep interest and keep recruiting and keep this tradition, what we love to do. We have to keep it alive. And all these things that are being banned and all these rules and all this stuff that in the grand scheme don't make a damn difference in the world. It's just negating all that effort that we as hunters are trying to do as far as getting people involved and keeping our hunting rights here. So again, guys, pay attention to the big picture. That's the most important thing for me. Another side note is that they want this. They want guys saying, no, we should ban them. And then other guys, no, we shouldn't. They want that infighting. Sound familiar? They want that infighting because all that confusion, and it's another reason why like the Iowa thing, it's so gray. From what I've read, a lot of it's so gray. That confusion just breeds more opportunity for them to get in, do what they want to do. And we don't even know what's happening because we're just too busy focused on if it's fair chase and, you know, unsightly and all this other stuff and no woodsmanship and all that crap. So whether we agree or not, it's a way to get people into hunting as well. It's another tool to use to get people actively involved. And I think that these should not be going anywhere myself. And again, guys, most politicians aren't hunters, and the people that are enacting all this legislation and all these things that are happening, I keep referring to the bait ban because it's so local here to Michigan. It's so right to home for me. But the people that made those laws and passed that stuff, they have no idea about conservation. They don't have that, like I said, common sense. They just care about votes or money, or I don't know what it is, but most politicians aren't hunters. And, you know, that needs to be taken into consideration as well. And aside from that, they don't care. They don't care like you and I care. You're here watching this video because you care about hunting and you care about what's happening right now in the hunting world. And those politicians, they could care less. what we think, what we want. I've filled out umpteen dozen surveys and never got so much as an email back saying we've received your input, whatever. So they don't care. So keep that in mind. Look out for each other. We got to look out for each other. We have to. If you don't agree with something, that's fine. That is completely fine. But don't try to change someone else's the way that they do things because you don't agree with it. Your opinion, that's not your opinion, so it's not right. And that's the cancel culture world we live in now. That's just what you're doing by bashing someone for using a crossbow, bashing someone for using trail cameras, whatever the case may be. Like it's just not right, and that's what they want. So in the end, worry about yourself, worry about what you're doing. If you don't want to use cameras, don't use them. If you don't like something, think about what I've said here before you go vote for the person that's going to get rid of that, or before you go petition to do something about it. Before you do any of that, think about it in depth and try to remember, like, at the end of the day, who cares? We all are doing our own thing. We should be worrying about ourselves, and we should try to be promoting hunting, not taking things away from it. So with that, guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, and this is a really important topic, especially, like I said, in the whitetail world right now. So leave your comments down below. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. Tell me how wrong you think I am or how right. Either way, I appreciate that you're here, if you made it this far. I really appreciate you. So thanks again for being here. Remember to like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button before you leave, and we'll see you guys all in the next video.